All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday 10X. Every Friday, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we're here to give a mastermind. And we always bring in a special guest. Today, we have the one and only Shay Gifford. What's up, Shayla?
What's up, everyone? I'm super excited to be here, Dave. Todd, it's so good to see your face this week.
Yeah,
Again.
I love the topic that we have. So, Todd, it's you and I today facilitating this. Any thing you want to say to frame the conversation before we get after it?
I've been kind of stuck in this mode of it's the second half of the year, right? Now we're pretty much 2 weeks into the second half of 2024. And I feel like y'all need a little bit of motivation. And I think there's no one I can think of that, really gets me excited about the mortgage business than Shayla. So I think this is going to be just a great opportunity because I feel like the more and more, and I'm talking to loan officers who are, newer loan officers who are struggling. I'm talking to loan officers who've been in the business for 3 to 5 years who are struggling. And I'm actually talking to some top producers, people that we have on these calls. And guess what? They're struggling too. Now, not all of them, right? There are the shining stars out there, the people who have figured out what they need to do in this market. And I know that the next hour that we have with Shayla, where we're going to talk through the mindset and the attitude and the activities that need to be done is what we all need, because we got to get all of us going in that forward direction.
So here's how I want to frame the call. I want to spend a minute on your value proposition. And we're just going to spend like 3 minutes on this because at the end of the day, if even if you have great energy and you work hard, if you don't have a great value proposition, you're not gonna win the race. Of course, if you've got a great value proposition, that's not enough to win the race either. And it's not enough to win the race in a sustainable way that builds a beautiful life, a beautiful family, and a well-rounded success in the industry. So I interviewed Daniel Saw a couple of weeks ago, and he said his value prop was super simple. And this is to a realtor. I have a process to give everyone you refer me super pumped and excited about buying a home right now, which, by the way, that's not an easy thing to do. And I've got a process to help your buyers win in a multi-offer situation. Super simple, not super easy. And then Daniel went on and say, like, I'm training people on how to communicate their value prop. And then, but the hard part is now the execution of that value prop, for those not to be hollow words. And then the even bigger challenge is having your mindset right, breaking personal barriers to achieve that. So Shayla, we launched this week a new playlist in the MortgageCoach YouTube channel called Training Clips, Sales Training Clips, where I'm taking little highlights out of some of the best interviews that are like 1 to 3 minutes, so that producing managers that are part of this community, they can actually use these clips when training.
Love it.
And so my first question is, one, what do you think of that value prop? And then two, what is your value prop out there in the marketplace right now? Or what are you teaching people?
Yeah, so I absolutely would just rip off and duplicate that value prop. I'll say it in my Shayla words. But those are the two things that matter. I think that before I go into a value prop, what I always think about, whether you're recruiting, and by the way, we're always recruiting. All of us are in the enrollment business. Sales equals influence. So whether I'm with a customer, I'm enrolling them to be committed to me and doing business with me. If I'm a manager and I'm recruiting somebody to join my team, a loan officer, a processor, an underwriter, an admin, I'm in the enrolling business to get that person to see my vision and align their goals with my vision and trust and believe that we can make those things happen together. And of course, when you're out meeting with realtors, you are enrolling. You are recruiting that realtor to be a part of your business and your process and maybe work your way. We're always influencing. And so the three things I think about when I'm sitting in front of somebody is always, what's in it for them? And they've got time, money, and stress to deal with. So I'm always like trying to assess, like, where is their biggest struggle? Some of the best recruits always ask questions around time. How do I get more time? Like, I'm already driven. I'm already working hard. I'm already doing the things. I just run out of time. There's just not enough time for me to do what I want to do. Same with realtors. That's an A player. A B player might say, well, I just need more money. Like, can you, if I had money from you and I got more leads from you, then I could do my thing. right? And so they're maybe putting their locus of control externally instead of internally. And the third might just be, I don't know, I'm just lost and I don't know what to do. So you've got A, B, and C players, but the bottom line is everybody has money, time, and stress as a pillar that we can help improve for them, being a partner for them, leading them, guiding them, whatever the case might be. So here's what I'll go with a realtor. If I'm sitting down with a realtor, number one, I'm interviewing them to make sure I really, really like them. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to bring all my talents, my energy, my commitment, my sacrifice to help them succeed. See, we don't get paid until they get paid. And I explain that, like, we have complete aligned interests. I want you to succeed so bad. I want you to make a paycheck, maybe more than you want to make a paycheck. I'm going to fight for you and edify you and help you win that client and this transaction, because I don't get paid until you do, right? So I think it's a couple things. Number one, the minimum barrier of entry is we better close on time. We better close smooth with amazing communication. If a loan officer can't do that, get out of the business. They shouldn't be doing that. But most realtors are like, can you close on time? Can you close smooth? That's because they were having operational challenges. You know, do you pick up the phone? The higher level challenges they're having now are sales challenges. Do I have enough leads? How am I going to convert them? How am I going to get these people excited and to take action and out of being stuck and in fear mode? So very simply, I have a process to convert leads into a meeting, a face-to-face meeting within 48 hours of you handing them to me. This is what I do in the meeting. Here's what I want you to say about the meeting. But if somebody's willing to drive across town and invest a whole hour and really thinking about the process of buying a home and putting themselves in that future place and working through all the fear around the finances and the numbers and the process, I get the opportunity to then sell the hell out of you and talk about why you're the right partner for them, who's going to negotiate and advocate and hunt for properties and fight for them in a multiple offer situation. And then furthermore, I've got all these tools that I can help you be more competitive and write a winning offer. And I'm going to tell the buyer how to do that. Things like a higher earnest money, things like a faster closing, because I will do a credit approval, a TBD credit approval. I'll write a same as cash offer where we will buy the house cash because we've fully underwritten them. I have all these different tools in my tool belt. And I guess the reason I say this to you, Dave, is that I want to help you win. And if you put your neck on the line and you refer me and you put your reputation on the line to say, Shayla Gifford is the best lender in town. She's got incredible programs. She writes the most competitive offers. Her reputation is solid. People know that if you have a Guild Mortgage pre-approval with her name on it, you're going to close. If you're willing to do that, here's what I'm willing to do in the meetings. And I know together, the two of us can get people excited and down the tracks, and we're going to win more offers together. Can I be your loan officer?
Boom. Well, we just got another clip in our new playlist. And I'm going to be collecting clips of value propositions, because if you don't have an incredible value prop, you can't win. If you're not great at communicating it, you can't win at maximum. For all the producing managers on here, I mean, that's part of your responsibility, to make sure all the loan officers that you serve have a compelling value prop. They can communicate it passionately in a tailored way. Denise Donahue uses the same one that Daniel does, although she has a third. She goes, and I'm going to, in addition to get him super excited about mine, I'm going to help him win in a multiple offer situation, and I'm going to help him pick the right loan to build wealth with real estate faster. So what is yours? That's the other thing I would love anybody in this community. If you want to share a 1-minute value prop, I'm going to be collecting those. Just post those in our Facebook group, and we'll put the best ones in this new playlist. So Shayla, let's transition, because I think where you're going to go.
I just want to say something. I know we're going to talk about life balance and catalyst and all this cool stuff, but like, what might be a really cool question to ask a realtor is, what do you think is the makeup of a great loan officer? Like, if you could think best ever, you put that person's face there, their business, their team, their reputation, whatever. What do they do really, really well? And it'd just be interesting. I mean, a lot of realtors like, I don't know, they answer the phone. Like, if I could just get someone to freaking answer the phone, like that would be amazing for me. Now you know where your barrier of entry is. Like, you know where their level of appreciation is. If they were like, I need a loan officer that knows all the loan programs. I need a loan officer who's really, really creative and could find different ways to make a deal work. And I want somebody who works 9 to 5 on Mondays, Monday through Friday, who has a beautiful office who'll meet my clients. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 might look like, I need a loan officer who's going to be consistent every single time with their follow-up. When I refer them a lead, I know exactly what that process is going to look like for them following up and what they say and how the meeting goes and what we do after pre-approval, how the pre-approval meeting went, what their max pre-approval looks like, what their cash to close looks like. I want this person to have incredible sales ability. I want that person to be able to excite my clients. Then you're like, okay, so here's the strategy. Ask them first. Then what you need to work on is, what do you think that best-in-class loan officer looks like? I told you my line that I said 10,000 times, which is, listen, earlier in my career, I used to think that a great loan officer, I was doing my job at the highest level if I could close on time, close smooth, and with lots of communication. And the numbers matched up. If I told you your cash to close is 25,000, it's 25,000. What I've realized now is like, that's the minimum barrier of entry. If you can't get that done, you shouldn't even be in the business. And when I say that to a realtor, you know what they do? They're like, thank God, finally. Because they look at us like, if you can't close on time, like, you suck at your job, right? They don't know how hard that truly is every single time. And that it really does take a ninja that understands the complexities of a loan and can set proper expectations and can influence a buyer to get them all their stuff, and that can work with all the outside parties to get a loan done and working with their internal team. Like, let's be real, guys, that takes already a high level of proficiency to do. However, if you now want to be valuable, like the conversation Dave is always working on with us, it's then about, how do I make you more money? How do I save you time? How do I save you stress? And so that is where you go, this is what my lead follow-up process looks like. This is what my pre-approval meeting process looks like. This is how I help them write winning offers. This is what my credit approval process looks like, so that I get them more committed. This is how I sell and edify you. And like, you'll blow people away in a meeting. Like, you know, can I tell you what I think a superstar loan officer is? Boom, 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 boom. And this is what I do. Now, I want to tell you, I can only do that for a handful of agents, because this is a lot of work, right? I came to this meeting because I wanted to see if you'd be one of those people that I would go all in for, that I would use my resources for, that I would sacrifice and pick up the phone late at night and like find a VIP. And really what I'm looking and building my business, I want 15 VIPs like that. Because it is so fun to be in business with where it's ping pong, where you're equally yoked and you've got two people really excited and really working, and we understand each other's processes. And you seem really driven, Todd. And I really loved everything you said about your customers and what you do. I want you to be one of my 15. What do you think? Can we do some business together?
I'm in.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Let's go.
So but I will tell you, this is what's so cool about these calls. I've never done that before, where I just say, hey, Todd, what do you think a great loan officer looks like? And I'm going to use that. Like,
No,
just give up.
it's a good ad. And the only thing I want to add, and then I really want to get into the core topic because it's not discussed enough. But if you're going to get someone super fired up about buying right now, beyond what a normal loan officer can do, you got to address the fact that, hey, interest rates are not great. That doesn't mean you're talking about that, but showing the net worth of this next home. If it's a renter, show their net worth in 5 years. If it's a move-up buyer, show their net worth in 5 years. When you're showing them data, and let's face it, the interest rate data point is not lovely. The monthly payment compared to what it was is not lovely, but pretty much everybody buying a house right now believes that it's going to continue to appreciate. And when you look at that net worth, it's a lovely number. So make sure you are using that to get people super pumped about buying in this market. So here's what I want to do, Shayla.
Hey,
So
real quick, Dave, let me just jump. Can I just give quick 2 cents on that? You know, number one is you as an LO need to have the confidence that Shayla has delivering this, right? She gave you your points: lead follow-up, pre-approval, conversation, credit approval plan, you know, writing a winning offer, and then selling and edifying the agent, right? You've got to be confident in yourself and be able to communicate that. I would tell you this. I actually asked that question to someone who leads a team of 50 agents yesterday, and they've got 2 different lenders they have to work with. There's Zillow Flex team, so they have to work with Zillow Home Loans. And he said he put his team member who used to be a loan officer who's super particular, and she said that Zillow Home Loans is doing an amazing job. You all think they suck, and they have 3 loan officers working their account 24/7, fast to respond. Their UVP sucks. Their unique value proposition is, hey, find the best deal out there and we'll beat it. But the bottom line is, he said that their systems, their communication, all their stuff is good other than their unique value proposition. And their other lender is someone who is super fast on a true pre-approval, but has higher rates, but they can trust that he can get a loan closed fast. And so it's really interesting. You have to be confident enough to ask the question to the realtor so that you can make sure that you address that in the conversation. That's how you're going to win, right? You do all these things, but you might think that price is first, or you might think communication is first, but you know, they may think it's the edifying them is first. And so it's making sure that you can double down and go all in on that, sell them on that you are the one who can do that thing that they want the best. But you know, Shayla nailed it. I mean, the bar is here for everyone. We all have to communicate, close, be competitive, all those things. It's how can you take it to the next level? Because the bottom line is that what we thought was a low bar, the online lender, guess what? They're actually at your level now.
yeah, I love it. I love it. So guys, we just finished the first quarter of this 4-quarter game that we're playing. I just came into a room. I'm at Neil Dingra's Ford event, and the energy was insane. You know, and then I came in here and I said, hey, everybody, what city are you in? And like only the speakers responded. So if you got value from the first quarter, give us a reaction. I hope to see a lot of reactions right now. Use the reaction feature in Zoom. Let us know what you thought of the first quarter of this call. All right, we're starting to wake up a little bit. So Shayla, that's good to see. If you have questions for Shayla, put them in chat. Let's have a very engaged digital mastermind session. So there's a question that over the next 45 minutes, I want to make sure gets asked, and I'll let you decide. Do you want to just go right into it, or do you want to build into it with your topic? But there's a lot of folks on this call that know exactly what they need to do to win. And, you know, they know they need to call. Like, I don't think it's ever been more clear between our YouTube channel, the content you create, like the scripts are there, what to do is there. But there's people that they're not keeping promises to themselves. And they also kind of gotten to the point where it's like, I don't want to say giving up on themselves, but they're okay struggling. So do you want to hit that quick on how to kind of go from that mindset of missing promises and not doing it? Or do you want to build that into all the things you're going to share today?
I don't know exactly. What do you mean by missing promises?
By the way, you froze up. You might want to, is it just my internet, Todd?
No, I think it's
Nope,
me.
she's frozen.
Let me try to find my camera.
Oh, there you
Sorry,
are.
you guys.
She's back.
I decided to be on the cell phone.
I'll just ask the question like this. Like, let's say there's a loan officer on this call, and my guess is there's a whole lot of loan officers on this call that know exactly what to do. They're not hitting their numbers, and they're not, keeping the promises to the prospect that they need, to the big calls that they need, and they're just kind of hoping for better rates.
Okay, so what is the problem? Well, I think, as you know, I just started a program, a unique coaching experience called Catalyst this last week. So this is the stuff I've been obsessed with. And the reason I created this was to solve this problem, which is that people feel kind of blah. They feel stagnant. It's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to get the inspiration week after week. And it just, that same old messaging of just make more calls, just make more calls, see more people. I have so many incredible loan officers that work for me, and they are incredibly talented, and they show up every week, and they're highly accountable, and they're not getting the results that they deserve, period. And so part of that is just understanding there's a season, a reason, and a lifetime. And if you are in a season of overwhelm, if you're in a season of struggling, that it's temporary and explainable. Okay. So The temporary part is that it is the market conditions. It is a supply and demand issue. There are way too many loan officers for the number of loans going on. However, are we managing the things that we can control over there, which is like, what's the explainable part? Like, what am I doing? And what I think is the bigger problem for all of us, and it has been for me, is that I've needed to find my thing. I've needed to get my juice back. I've needed to find my fire, because that script that I just gave you is 98% energy, 2% words. It is conviction, it is clarity, it is enthusiasm, it is eagerness. People can feel all that. And it's amazing. I was in Spain 2 weeks ago, and I went to dinner with two guys. Both have been wildly successful in life. One guy, so successful that he got a lawsuit that he had to pay $14 million to solve the lawsuit. And another, and I'm telling you, just sitting with Martin and Mike, and one's an Irish dude and one's a Brit, you could see the guy who was on fire, like from a mile away. He had clarity in his skin and his eyes. He had enthusiasm, he had a lightness about him. He just radiated like this kind of vibe that was like, gosh, you're killing it. You know, like, you're on fire, dude. And he goes, you know, my health is on fire. My friendships are on fire. My kids are doing well. Our marriage is back on track. He goes, the only thing that's light in my life at this point is my finances. And so these are the things that I'm doing about it. I'm getting involved with this startup, and I'm getting involved. Like, that is a guy that's got firm self-awareness of exactly where he's at. And I've known his journey, and there has not been moments where he has been on fire. Their family's been a mess. They've been in drama locally in their community. Their kids were not doing well. He had all kinds of health challenges, right? So we go through seasons, reasons, and lifetimes. And he's in a season right now where he goes, I'm on fire and I'm working on fixing the finances. Martin over here is like in the, well, but if I want that, then I would be sacrificing this. And if I should do that, but I would do that. Like, you could just tell he's in confusion. He is in confusion. He hit a level of his success, then he plateaued, then he got rattled. By the way, he has 7 children, and he probably has enough money. And see, that's kind of the problem, I think, right now for a lot of us loan officers. We've been doing this. The average LO has been doing this 21 years. 66% of loan officers are over 21 years in the industry. 65% of loan officers are over 55. So it's not like we're struggling, like we can't like put food on the table. And so that's actually more dangerous, because the motivation now has to really come from ourselves, right? And so, you know, I have been saying, you can, you know, I think the difference for transformation or change or whatever, it could be, it's a catalyst of some sort, and it could be a painful catalyst. It could be negative. It could be divorce. It could be going to the doctor and getting a bad health bill that all of a sudden makes you wake up. It could be, you know, now you've had to cancel your family vacation. Now you've had to move your kids out of private school. Now you've had to cut off like your country club. Like, those are painful things that might get us to wake up and go, you know what? I've been lying to myself. I've been lying to myself that I'm doing enough, that I'm working hard, that I'm doing my best. Because what's really happening is I'm watching TV too late at night. I'm waking up at the last minute groggy. I'm showing up like kind of sloppy to my day. I'm not prepped. I'm not like Dave Savage and Todd Bookspan getting 20,000 steps and out in the beach. Dave asked me questions like, Shayla, what does it mean to win by 7 a.m.? And I'm like, Jesus, Dave, I don't know. Like, I've got 2 young kids still. I'm just like, it's a shit show. I don't know. But long story short, like,
well, wait. We're not going to get off of that. So do you win by 8? Because it doesn't have to be 7. So when I ask that question, here's, and I want to ask this question to everyone on this. So I do, and hey, and when I had, my kids were younger, maybe I wasn't winning by 7 then, but now I've become an empty nester, and I've got my personal rhythms that I'm getting in before 7 a.m. and that give me peace, that give me positivity, that give me inspiration, so that I come into the day with clarity. So here's my question for everyone on this call, and let's just see if people have woken up. First of all, I would love to know if there was one thing that's like the cornerstone to winning in the morning for you. Like, what's one thing? Put that in chat. And then what is it? Like, Todd, what is it for you? I think, is it 7:45 or 8:45?
I'm winning by 8:45. My
Win
cornerstone
by
of my morning is gratitude, right? Gratitude's an easy one to have. And it was funny. I actually worked out at the gym at noon yesterday. I felt kind of weird doing it. I won't lie. But one of the guys made a comment to another gal that was there, and he said they talked about the fact that they normally go earlier and that they feel like when they win, when they exercise in the morning, it gives momentum for the day, right? So I love that. I've seen that with you, Dave. You've always been super productive, but since you've had this win by 7 a.m. and you're so committed to that, like that is your standard every day, you've been crushing it. And, we had a 6 a.m. call with Phil Jones the other day, and you're like, shoot, this is going to throw off my morning, but it didn't stop you from hitting the standard. You went and finished up your day right after that. And so I think that's the challenge when it goes back to your question about people not hitting promises with themselves. It's that you have to be crystal clear on what's your standard. And I think you have to have a personal standard, like what is that going to look like? And then what is your business standard and what's that going to look like? And then you have to be okay with, hey, I got thrown off. Now I got to go back and get back on track. Or, hey, I missed it yesterday. How can I double down today? Right. So, if I commit to 10 realtor calls a day, we are quality conversations with the realtors, and I only have 8 yesterday. That doesn't mean that I'm only going to have 10 today. Guess what? I'm going to have 12 because I missed 2 yesterday. So that is keeping a promise to myself. And I find that the best loan officers have something that they've committed to, whether it's number of dials. It's always an activity based, right? Right now, we can't control results as much, but we can certainly control our activities. John Cheplack says we don't have a time management issue. We have a choice management issue, right? We're making the wrong choices. Shayla mentioned watching Netflix and stuff like that. We all do it, but when do we do it? How do we do it? And so I'm just all fired up. You and I went deep on this, Dave, a few years ago with, the Navy SEALs and setting standards and commitments. And so I think there's just a huge opportunity. But yeah, you're right. What's the one thing you're going to start your day with every day that you're all committed to? So I see some workouts in there. I see some, listening to a podcast. But, again, the rest of you aren't on fire. We only got 3 people making comments in there, and there's almost 100 of you on this call.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty. Come on, guys. Like, are you multitasking right now? Like, give me one thing that you have to do to win in the morning. And by the way, this is something I will tell folks. I've facilitated a couple morning workshops. Sean Herrero does a event called the Tiny Event, and I have led a sunrise walk multiple times. And one of the things I do when we do the sunrise walk, I have these little pit stops where I stop and I ask people. We get a little circle, and I go, hey, and everybody has less than a minute. What's the one thing you do that just lights you up in the morning? And, some of it's like snuggle with my kids, some of it is the workout, there's all kinds of things. But every time I've done this, there's always been 1 or 2 people that are like, they're not clear. And I'll tell you right now, those 1 or 2 people are the people that are struggling the most out of the group. And the people that like, this is what I do, boom, boom, boom. Those are the people that are lit up. So I would just push everybody, get clear on that one thing. For me, it's win by 7, but win by 9, win by whatever.
Dave, I'm totally teasing you because it was just a unique question. But the truth is, and I said this to you earlier this week, I'm like, oh, I do win by 7. And I do think I figured it out. Like, but the key thing, so for people go, well, I know I should, and I should meditate, or I know I should get up early. Just so you all know, I've lived in more chaos than most people. Like in a short period of time, from 2010 to 2018, I started Gill Mortgage as one person. I had no team, I had no assistant, and I had no processor. For 6 years of my career, I did 20 loans a month all by myself because I wanted to be the Michael Jordan. I thought nobody was good enough, fast enough, better enough than me. And I was in my 20s. So I was like, screw it, I can do it, right? So enter 2010, and I started saying, okay, I'm not going to stay married if I behave this way. Like, if you come behind the closed doors, there's like my high heels on the counter. I haven't made my bed for 7 days. The dishes, whatever. But like, my numbers are freaking awesome, right? So I had to start like becoming an adult. Okay. But from 2010 to 2018, I had 2 babies. I built a house. I had family go through addiction, and it grew my team, my volume from 20 million to 100, whatever, 130, 150. I forget what it was at the height before pre-COVID. I built 8 or 10 satellite branches and recruited like 30 loan officers. We went from me, one, to like 150 people. I built an ops center from scratch, built to $1 billion. Like, so if you want to talk about chaos, I didn't do that with the 7 a.m. plan, Dave. I literally slept as long as I could, because if I didn't get 9.5 hours of sleep, like I'd go to bed and be a dead person, because I was running on so much stress and so much cortisol. And, you know, I didn't do it with responsibility, with delegation and everything like that. I just did it kind of out of dysfunction. I was part of a program, well, the core, where it was all about comparison and how many numbers you do and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was really influenced by that. And then come 2018, I hit a place of burnout. And you know, thank God my husband is so game, because Galen was like, all right, I want to be rich more than I care about, you know, clean dishes and shit. So like, let's just go. But at some point, my kids are now suffering. I love Galen. My kids are suffering. They both are, you know, they need structure. They need stability. They need organization. Galen actually likes harmony. And not one thing about my being was harmony, systems, and structure. I figured out how to do that in business because I wanted to make money, but I didn't live it in my life. And the big turnaround happened, turnaround started to happen for me in 2018. The catalyst was actually burnout. Like legitimately, like my adrenals were toast. I was on coffee all day long, like literally all freaking day. Yes, I was a dead person still sleeping. I could barely keep a workout schedule of like 2 workouts a week, because I would feel like I was this close to getting sick. So I'd always cancel my workout, because I was like, I can't beat my body down. I know my immune system's on a thin thread. And I was just starting to be crabby. And my standard for myself is high energy. Like there's one thing that I've always, if I can't be eager and energetic and enthusiastic for people, then I'm a piece of shit. Like that's how I run in my life. And so that's when I got a different kind of a coach. I got a different kind of a coach that was like, you know what you need to do? You need to figure out what Shayla wants. What do you really, 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 really want? What brings you joy? What brought you joy in the last 7 days? What brought you joy in the last 30 days? What brought you joy in the last 6 months? You know, if you didn't have to satisfy anybody else, if you could live a life that's totally up to your whims and your desires, what would you do? Where would you go? How would you spend your time on a daily basis? And it was in that unearthing of myself that I came up with this new vision for my life. Like, you know, I started working on end goals, not means goals, not I'm going to make 10 calls so that I can meet 5 realtors, so that I could get 5 loans. And my life was just lived like right here in survival mode and on the freaking treadmill and chaos mode. I literally was like, okay, what's all this about? You know, because by the time I was 34, I had $4 million in the bank. Like, and that was supposedly the number I was only going to need to survive. So it was not about the money. I was fueled by this place of dysfunction of like comparison and how many numbers did you do lately? And I needed to start slowing down and looking in the mirror and going, I need to live my life consciously, not unconsciously. I need to live my life through inspiration, not dysfunction. And I decided I was going to move to Spain and take 3 years and I initially said we're going to go for 6 months. I decided to change the way I was leading my team. I stopped being the producer. The loans came out of my name, which mentally and emotionally was a huge lift for me. I changed the compensation structure on my team to get people on my team raised up and to have more ownership in their life. I hired and structured more leadership in my business and the branches so that I could free myself up. What I really craved was freedom. Like I wanted more time freedom. I wanted more freedom from mental stress and energy. I wanted freedom of relationship. I also had some relationships and realtors, like people that I allowed in my world because I cared so much about the volume that I was like, no, I'm done. I don't want to hang out with any douchebags. I will not hire them. I will not work with them. That's my standard. But I had to slow myself down, like seriously slow myself down to do this deep dive in myself on what I really want and think about the end. What do I want on my eulogy? What do I want my granddaughter to say about me when I die? And what kind of fitness and health do I want to have when I'm 80 or 90? Because that's what's going to drive me to do the squats today. Like when I'm doing a hard workout, I'm literally going, my 70-year-old self is going to appreciate this right now. The flexibility, the effort, right? What's the end goal for the money? What do I want to have? What kind of passive income do I want to have? What do I want the end goal to be for my marriage? Because how many people do we know their kids get to 18, 19 and they look at each other and like, who are you? Like we haven't built anything here. Friendships is, like, anyway, you get my point. And once I got myself back, I had to get rid of a toxic culture. I had to find a new mentor and coach. I had to do the deep dive myself. I had to define what it meant for me. Then I could set standards. And those standards were ones that I picked for my big reasons. And once I pick them, not because it seems cool or it's a fad or I heard it on a podcast or anybody else, but it was mine. It was my self-fueled goal. That's when I lit on fire, you guys. And by the way, my business went up to like, COVID helped, right? Like, let's be real, COVID helped. But there's a lot of people who did not capitalize on COVID. There's a lot of people whose head was in overwhelm, that they were screwed up, that they gained 30 pounds in COVID, that all kinds of shit happened in COVID. Not me. Like, I've never eaten more clean. I've never been more connected to my family. My branches went to 1.6 billion. I lived in Spain. And all that happened because I took the time to go, what do I really, really, really want? How do I expand my vision? Because now it's not about where my name is on a line item on the board or fucking Scotsman's Guide or whatever else, right? So Dave, this is what I'm doing with my people. This is why I started Catalyst. The next 8 weeks, the starting 8 weeks of Catalyst is literally taking people through these exercises to say, what are your end goals? What is the story you most believe about yourself? Because our identity and the way that we show up is the story that we most believe about ourselves. And if you do not have a powerful story locked in, I don't care how many tactics I give you, I don't care how much accountability, you are going to show up as a weaker version of yourself. And you know what? Knock it off. Like, I don't care if you're 22, 42, 82, 62, like, do you really want to live life that way? So when we get into these plateaus in life, when we don't feel like we're totally clear and on fire, that's the process that has to happen. And then, like you said, Todd, how do I know I'm off track? Well, because I've got this big vision set and I've got these standards in place. And then I can go, ooh, like this week was a shit show. Like, I just had come back from Europe. I had, jet lag and the kids got sick and, whatever, like, and I'm just barely winging, barely holding on. Last night, I looked like a zombie and Galen's like, hey, I don't think it makes sense for you to wake up at 5:45 tomorrow morning. And I was like, yeah, thank you. You're right. And so I turned no alarm on. And guess what? I still got my workout in, my first 75 hard workout, because I'm doing that too. And that's why I'm showing up in a pony, like barely with mascara on for this call, because you just make it work. But there's, once I had a vision for myself, I was able to function and, like you said, get myself back in line. And so for all of you that feel like you're a chaotic mess, I believe that it's about being less of a mess every day, that life is about expansion. Dave, you are somebody, that's why you call these 10X calls. You are such a man of expansion. Everything you read, everything you post, everything you live out. And it's why we just love each other. And Todd is just that beacon for me of a guy that's just consistent and stable and like has his values so locked in as a father and as a leader. And it's like, when I get around Todd, I'm always like, it feels so good to be around you. And so, Todd, I want to be more like you every day. Dave, we're expanding and changing the world. And we're being less of a mess.
So by the way, audience guys, you guys gamed it up. Thank you for all the just really wonderful thoughts. Someone said, thank you, Shayla, for the transparency. It really was special. Someone said this this is one of the all-time best clips. I agree with you. Michael, we're gonna put this in the all-time. Scott really, and I did too, what kind of grandparent do I want to be for my kids? I personally turned 60 a few weeks ago, and
What?
yeah, but it was wild. Like, it's a big number, but it was like the best birthday ever. Like I had never been more proud of myself. I had never felt better about this next chapter of my life, where so many birthdays I've had where I was like, it was just a mixed bag. I mean, even when I turned 21, I think I was stoked that I got to, although I wasn't having a hard time getting into bars even before I was 21. But yeah, the point I want to make here, guys, Shayla, like, go back and listen to this, and it's like the code. Shayla, one question, and I want to make sure we hear about, this platform that you have and the process of it. But did it happen did it take a whole year for you to make this transition? Did it take a month? Did it take a week? Or was there a day where you were like, I'm going to make some bold changes? Like, what was it? A full year, a month, a week?
Well, no, it's a lifelong process of expansion. I mean, let's be real, like, sometimes, like, again, what is going to be the catalyst, this latest catalyst for me to start Catalyst, to continue to do another excavation of myself, was I had a big life shift. We lived in Spain. I came home January of 2022. And I love this industry and I love my business. But here's what I will tell you. I did not feel on fire. It was wearing me out. It was grinding on my positivity. It was affecting my hopefulness. It made me feel insecure as a leader. Like, gosh, is what I'm doing good enough? Am I relevant anymore? It just really has rattled me. And I think it's rattled all of us to some degree. Dave, I know you've sold your company, like, watching you 10X. And if we have time to talk about this, this book, 10X is easier than 2X, is important, but this, the latest, I did that in 2018. I really caught on fire. I spent a whole year, all of 2019, preparing for that move to Spain. I found ways to buy freedom through setting up systems, through processes, through leadership, so that I could give myself the freedom to pursue those things, right? Because you don't just decide and now you're free. Like, that's BS. You have to go, what do I really, really want? And then now, what are my standards, and how do I simplify my strategy so that I can have that freedom and have that growth? And it's in that focus that now I'm fired up and focused. And it's a lot of work, but at least I've got clarity. I've got vision. I'm fired up. I'm focused. I know where to go with it. Well, then I come back in 2022 and I've done 5 rounds of layoffs and my team is struggling and I don't feel like anything is working. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be that leader in the mortgage business that is trying to milk my team and just wait this out and can't wait till the feds get their stuff right. Because I felt like, no, people need leadership more now than ever. And either I'm going to step up and be that transformational leader and be innovative and be all in and be fired up genuinely, not fake, genuinely, or I should go. Like, tell me to go. If I ever get crotchety, if you guys see me at a conference, Dave, and you're like, ugh, like, it's time to retire, out.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I can't imagine.
Well, I don't allow it to happen, but there may come a day where I'm like, I've done it. I'm proud of what I've done and I have another vision for myself. I love it. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. Like, I am so locked in.
At the event. Like, my point with that was, you won't be at that event. Like if that point comes, you'll be somewhere else.
I'll
And you'll
self-select.
And you'll be on fire wherever you're at. And so, guys, we're running into the 4th quarter here. If you have some questions for Shayla, get them in now. Shayla, I really want to unpack what you're doing with Catalyst, because I think just describing
Todd keeps raising his hand. He's got a question.
Oh,
well, no, I just want to say I threw the link to Catalyst over in the chat. We'll make sure it's in the YouTube if you're watching this in the video. And I just want to give a quick testimonial for it, just because I've got, not only am I going through it, but my whole team is going through it. We made it a requirement that they all join in and be all in. We just said, hey, this isn't going to be something that you're going to join and do half-assed. You're actually going to be all in, because when Dave asked that question, was this a year-long thing, a month-long thing, a day, it was just one day, Shayla's walking us through this process. And it was really fun to have our text exchange with our team of, hey, what was your biggest takeaway from the first call? And then we do a morning huddle, and then to have people show up excited about it, because it's not about, make this call and use this script. It's really about you and in this, I don't know, rebirth is the right word. I don't know, Shayla, but it's ultimately, how do you go from where you are now to being on fire? Because we all want to have a little bit of Shayla's fire, and it's an easy way for you to get it. So I just want to really encourage you all to take a look at it, because it really is a great opportunity. It was fun yesterday. I was talking to a realtor friend of mine, and he's like, oh, I was on the Catalyst call. And so there's also realtors on there. And I know my business partner's inviting some of his realtors to jump in and join, because he had so much fun on the first call. He wants his best realtors to go through the experience with him as well.
Yeah, it's not loan officer specific. A lot of people have been asking me that question. It's really for anybody. And I will say too, in case anyone has to leave early, I am closing registration by July 15th. So it's an ongoing program. It is forever. It is a month-to-month subscription. You can come and join me for 90 days, get what you need, and peace out. Or you could stay and go, life is an evolution and it's constant expansion. And as I hit this 10X, I'm needing that accountability and that energy and that association to hit my next 10X. And I really feel like, Dave, one of the 4 freedoms is purpose freedom. I honestly feel that I am living entirely in my purpose in doing this work. Listen, it's $300 a month. So this isn't like my backup plan or my supplement my income plan. This is my contribution to the world. I mean, I've got friends and family doing this. I've got friends in Europe doing this. And I believe in the process wholeheartedly, because it's what I've done myself over 20 years of personal growth and development. I'm taking the best of the stuff that I've gotten from Tony Robbins and from Brene Brown and from, Dan Sullivan and from my mentors like Rick Ruby and, because so many fabulous coaches that I've had, and saying, well, this is how I architect a process. This is how I create a group energy experience, because what you experienced, Todd, with your team is what I hope to bring, which is let's all just stop lying to ourselves. Let's get real and let's get raw and let's get on fire for ourselves and actually create energy around wow, Todd is doing this, I'm doing that, that you inspire me. That's where, if you get in that kind of an environment over and over again, and that's who you associate with, there's nothing you can't go after, whether you want to go run marathons or climb Mount Kilimanjaro or start a charity or triple your loan officer volume, all incredible things in this pursuit of freedom and expansion. So what do you want to know, Dave? I mean, what we should do is, we have the link to actual Catalyst, but what we should do is, I opened the first call because the first call was this Tuesday. And I've got that recording, and I actually go through the platform. It's built on Mighty Networks. So there's a whole community feed. You can actually search up all the members. You can connect with members. You can follow them there. There's a community feed, but it's also where all of the resource stuff library will be. So anything anybody asks me on these live coaching calls and it could be loan officer related, team building related, building wealth and money related, health and fitness related, parenting related, whatever resources come from me or out of the group will all be housed inside of Mighty Networks. So it's really exciting to be able to build this. And then all the recordings for the calls are going to be there as well. And all the exercises, all the PDFs, and the exercises. So we're all building, I got to pull mine out. We're all building, a Catalyst binder. And I hope that this is a special place in your home that you do find your morning routine with at 5:45 in the morning, and you do review your life vision and your goals and your standards and all the things I'm going to take you through, so that as life knocks us sideways and the economy changes and we have a sickness in our family and we have real stuff that happens, we can readjust back in alignment and pursue what we want to pursue. So that recording of the first call, if you're not sure and you're like, oh, well, I want to see a tour guide of the whole program, that would probably be a good thing to share. But I could bullet point from here too. I can't see at the time because I'm on my Zoom on the camera, so I don't.
We've got about eight minutes. So why don't you just give some bullet points, and then it sounds like the link that Todd put is where you want people to go, or is there another link?
So I don't even have I don't even have a website for it, you guys. It's just direct to the Mighty Networks to sign up for your subscription. And again, it's $300 a month, and you can cancel anytime. The program is going to be ongoing. But here's what it is. It's a weekly coaching call every single Tuesday. It's 45 minutes long. The format of that call is going to be a 15 to 20 minute lesson every single week. And most of the time I will be bringing those lessons, those worksheets, the exercises. However, I meet some pretty rad people in my life through, Olympic athletes and jet fighter pilots. And, I even asked Sean Bonosi, and his talk in Vegas was so amazing about standards and his scorecard. And he's going to do a session for me inside of Catalyst. Then the next 10 minutes or so is going to be recognition. See, I'm going to send once a week, Dave named it for me, a pulse check. I'm going to challenge everybody to do a PPC, preparation and pulse check, every Sunday. Because if you want to live a 10X life, if you want to be truly on fire, you've got to take that time. And again, I didn't do this for years, but Gail and I both do it now. And it's unbelievable how we're able to be in partnership and support each other and adjust our lives and our businesses to, support both of us and our family and our businesses. And by the way, my husband's doing this. My sister and her husband are doing this. There's a lot of couples, because it is kind of hard if you're the only one on fire and creating this vision. But no matter what, if you are, and you could state to somebody, this is what I'm excited about. This is my vision. This is what I want to look like when I'm 80. This is what I want my grandkids to say about me. You're going to garner that support because you're clear. You're not in confusion. You have clarity. So the second part of the call will be taking information from those accountability forms, that pulse check survey that you do once a week, to find out what coaching do you need, what resources do you need, what wins did people have, so I can highlight people that have had these wins in their life. I don't care from what domain of life, because we will feed off of each other's energy. We will feed off of people being real and raw, and it'll give us the courage to get back at it, or to find that simplified strategy we need, or to, have the energy to go, oh, I'm doing that today. Those 45-minute sessions on Tuesday, again, are recorded and put in the Mighty Networks portal, so that you can always go back and do the lesson or rewatch the segment. So between accountability every week, and the accountability is not how many calls did you make and how many people you see. The accountability is going to these places of, were you eager? Were you grateful? How did you show gratitude this week? How was your vibe? How did you show up? Were you in self-protection mode? Or were you in an open, grounded, wholehearted, clear place in the world, right? I'm going to help you look at your identity and the stories we tell ourselves. Anyway, most of us have read books and done things you go to a Tony Robbins, but then what? You read this 10X is easier than 2X, but then you're back in your old life with all the people doing the same thing. So this is about taking those lessons and then living it, because we're doing that as a group. And Dave, thank you for filling out a pulse check for me and going through the experience and giving me some valuable feedback on what that'll look like on Sunday, because all my Catalyst members are going to get their first pulse check on Sunday.
Well, it inspired me in a number of ways just to do that pulse check. I didn't have all the context that you just put around it, so I loved it. I love it even more. So there's been a few questions come in, and for Lev, I think she said it was recorded and in the platform. But what time on Tuesday is your
It's,
monthly
yes,
call?
it's 11 a.m. Pacific on Tuesday. So 11 to 11:45 a.m. Tuesdays Pacific
Cool.
time.
And that'll be recorded and in the platform. And then let's close out with this question. And then Todd, I'm going to have you do the win by noon close. Shayla, let's try to answer this question in a minute or two. But Alicia said, you communicate with such energy, passion, and confidence in your presentation. Your experience shines through. What do you recommend for a new LO in this market to communicate at this level?
Well, I was just thinking about our things like what makes a great LO. Here's what I'll tell you, Alicia. Most realtors are going to give you very basic things that for you are so second nature. And you go, I would never be in a commission only job. I would never be chasing you for an opportunity for you to hire me if I didn't do those basic things. Okay. So while we're talking about, you got to be able to sell and convert and have a team and present wealth and all this stuff, like that's called mastery. And that comes over time. See, but to have a 10X vision where you go, I'm making $50,000 right now. I want to get to $500,000. What kind of person do I need to become? What kind of transformation do I need to have? What kind of skill sets do I need to gain mastery around in order to do that vision? And you know what happens? The minute that you're clear about that, the resources are all around you, right? So you got to sell what you got. And I'm telling you now, if somebody comes to you and says, well, my expectations are blah, 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 we're not a fit. Next. But what I'm telling you is most of them, they're not going to be that way. And what you sell what you have. So sell the fact that you've got this one product that is getting more people into homes because it's a 3-2-1 product that they get a $2,000 gift card to Home Depot. And here's your last testimonial. And you want to tell their customers about it, right? That'll get you the opportunity, the foot in the door. And then every single lead, every referral, you get to work on your mastery. And if you are a person that is constantly committed to your personal growth, to your transformation, and your acquiring of skills and mastery, there's limitless life potential to do whatever it is that you want. That's what is cool about freedom and expansion. But you don't just get the freedom like Todd to live in Ventura for the summer and be able to rent a summer house on the beach and still run a great business, a couple businesses, and still have rentals and build the wealth he's built and be the connected father he has. Those are all freedoms that he's built, but it's first through vision, and then it's second through standards, and then third, it's gaining mastery. And so a big question people are like, I'm in Go coaching. I'm in Neil's social media thing. I'm in the core training. I'm at Guild's Elevate coaching. Those coaching programs are focused on mastery of getting you from 3 loans a month to 6 loans a month, from being dormant on social media to being visible and credible and effective on social media. This doesn't replace that. This is what I see as the foundation to that, which is why I priced it at $300 a month. Because same thing, if you go into a personal trainer and say, I want to get fit, but there's not a clear definition that says, hey, I want to be able to water ski when I'm 80. That's a very clear picture that now the personal trainer's like, all right, let's look at your mobility now. Let's look at your lat strength. Let's look at let's see where you're at. You're 48 and your muscles are completely atrophied here. And you want to water ski at 80, right on. Let's great. Now you have now you've got the vision and the clarity so that the coaching around mastery works. So I have my own, I've got like 3 different coaches right now, and I have a personal trainer. But without me being clear, without Shayla knowing what Shayla wants and focusing on Shayla every week to say, how am I progressing and expanding? A loan officer coach, where you say, like somebody reached out to me and said, Shayla, I need to close 8 loans a month. I have to. And I need to know how to be more effective on cold calls. Like I need to figure out how to get realtors to listen to me. And I'm like, awesome. Like, I love this question. This is freaking awesome. So then I go into like, tell me what's worked for you in the last 12 months. How many realtors do you work with? Why do they pick you? Why do they work with you? What is your unique ability? because don't try to be Todd and don't try to be Dave and don't try to be Denise. Like, you need to be you, the strongest, most powerful, clear version of you. And then you've got to work on your mastery. Yes, you got to work on your scripting. Yes, you got to work on your enthusiasm. But the question really is, are you showing up on fire? Like, can people really feel that you're eager? Can people see that you are like not lying to yourself? Because if you're just showing up and like half-assing it, and you did the Netflix thing and the sleeping in late and you're neglecting your health, and you're it's summer and you're like in a meeting and you're sweating and you're 40 pounds overweight, and somebody's going, gosh, like, this person is not on fire. That's subconsciously what's happening, right? But if you show up and you're like, man, I'm on a mission to lose 100 pounds. I've already lost 25. I have this crazy goal to climb Mount Kilimanjaro at 70. I've just woken up. Like, I've woken up. I'm doing this program Catalyst. I'm so excited about my life. I'm looking for other people who are like pissed with themselves and ready to explode. Now that's a different story. It's the same person, different story. Results are different. So mastery is the answer to that. And other coaching programs and every call that Dave does, every playlist, everything should help you with your mastery. Thank you, Alicia. You get an A+ for your energy, girl. Thank you.
And everybody who hit the reaction button throughout this call, made a comment, thank you. And for all of you who just showed up and got value, we appreciate you. Todd, close us out, win by noon style.
I don't even know how I can top that, right? I mean, I said at the beginning of the call, I mean, Shayla's fire is contagious. She talked about vision, standards, and mastery. And you've got to start somewhere, right? You can't do that all today. You're going to have to pick where you're going to start, right? Some of you might get your fire by picking a standard and waking up tomorrow and winning by 7 like Dave does, and having those things that get in there. Some of you probably need to sharpen your vision, like, really, where do I want to be in 12 months, in 3 years, in 5 years, and beyond? Like, do I want to be water skiing when I'm 80? And I know people who do that. And then the mastery part, I think you probably all are pretty darn good. And we all have always room for improvement, right? It's always progress, not perfection. But what I would say is this: is go back and rewatch this. I know I'm going to, and then figure out what's that next step. Catalyst is going to be the easy button for that next step, because you're going to be not only led by Shayla and other great folks, but you're going to be surrounded by other people trying to achieve what you're going to achieve. I heard this statistic. It was kind of a crazy number, and I have to actually pull it off my phone because I don't want to be wrong. It was a study that Facebook and Cornell University did. I'm going to research it and find it. 689,003 people. They screwed around with their feeds. Believe it or not, when you sign up for Facebook, that you actually say that they're allowed to do that. And they pumped negative content into people's feeds. And guess what happened? They posted less often and they posted more negative things. And then they turned around to another group and they only posted positive things, and they pumped in positive content in front of them and surrounded with positive people saying positive things. And guess what? They were more positive and they posted more positive themselves. So, I love this community. That's why Dave and I do this every Friday along with Deb. And this is just one more opportunity for you to take an offshoot of the community, jump along with Shayla and a bunch of others of us who are in there. And so, as always, it's an honor to get to be here every Friday. It was fun to see you again, Shayla. We've just been connecting via text, and so it's good to see your face. And Dave, man, have fun in Vegas. I know you're there with Jack and a bunch of other cool people. So, just jump in, guys. Take some action today. It's a great time to do it now.
All right. So guys, as we close this out, let Shayla know, give us a little reaction. How do you feel about today's call? If you're watching this at our YouTube channel, we'll have links down below in the show notes where you can sign up for her program. Any other links that we mentioned? I think I mentioned the new sales training clips. We'll put a link to that down below. If you are a branch manager, you are a producing leader of any sort, make sure that you are leading by example, and make sure you are leaning into your team, making them aware of everything we're talking about here. So this is a wrap, everybody. Take care. Shayla Gifford, you're on fire.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys.
Amazing.
Love you. Take
Bye.
care. Take care.